Hi everybody, I'm Amanda from Endure Athletics. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video is covering the foundations of calisthenics. If you're beginning the sport or just generally interested in the sport and don't know where to begin, this will be a great place to start. I'll be covering the 6 main groups of exercises that will be consistent in almost every training routine, being 1, horizontal push, 2, vertical push, 3, horizontal pull, 4, vertical pull, 5, squats, and 6, hip hinge movements. I'm going to try to cover the progressions from absolute beginner to intermediate to make sure all the grounds are covered, and all of this information will be here in one place. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to get alerted when I post a video, and I try to upload every single week. Starting with horizontal push, the easiest variation is a wall push-up. To make this move easier, move your feet in closer to the wall, making sure that your elbows aren't flaring out too much to the sides during this movement, and keeping your core engaged. Next on the list is incline push-ups. You'll want to find a height that you can do about 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps of. The higher this is, the easier it will be. Again, keeping your elbows tracking over your wrists, slow and controlled movements, and core engaged. Next up is kneeling push-ups, just bending your knees and doing a push-up from there. These can be interchangeable with incline push-ups. They are a little bit different in the mechanics, so if your main goal is a full push-up, the incline push-up is actually a better option, but these are still a great pushing workout. Next up is a full negative push-up, starting at the top of a normal push-up position and lowering down as slowly and controlled as you can, and getting back up to the top, starting in a plank, lowering down as slowly and controlled as you can. Aiming for 3 sets of 5 reps, and this will build all the necessary strength to get you to a full push-up eventually. Of course, next we have the full push-up. It's okay if your hands go out wider a bit here, as long as you're mindful of not letting your elbows track out towards the sides, keeping them over the wrists if you can, and keeping your core engaged throughout the whole movement. Another step up from a push-up, you could either weight your push-ups by wearing a weight vest or doing these and doing a decline push-up, for example. Same mechanics as a push-up, you just elevate your feet on a higher surface to increase the challenge. Moving on to vertical pushing, starting with a bent knee bench dip, coming out away from the bench as far as you need to keep your elbows tracking over your wrists and your core engaged, using the assistance of your legs here to help you push back up. And just one step up from that will be extending your legs out in front of you, which will mean a little bit less assistance from your legs, making it a bit more challenging. Next will be a full assisted tricep dip, keeping your shoulders down and away from your ears here, keeping your core engaged, using a band as heavy as you need to do a few sets of 8 to 10 reps of these. Once you're comfortable with assisted dips, doing some negatives, just like we did with push-ups, starting at the top position, jumping up, holding yourself in a support hold at the top, and lowering down as slowly as you can before starting the process over, aiming for 3 sets of 5 reps. Of course, once you're comfortable with the negatives, attempting your full dip. Like all of these exercises, trying to keep your elbows over top of your wrists and shoulders drawn down away from your ears. If you're interested, I have a more in-depth video on how to get your dip. I'll link here. Moving on to horizontal pulling, here I'm demonstrating body weight rows, squeezing your shoulder blades together and then pulling your chest towards the bar with your arms. You can always make this exercise harder by lowering the bar, and if it's too hard for you with the low bar, bending your knees to find a nice middle ground. This is a great exercise for beginners, especially if you can't do a pull-up yet. There aren't too many beginner-friendly exercises for horizontal pulling, so we're going to move on to vertical pulling. Here, just demonstrating a dead hang, holding onto the bar and letting your weight hang down. You can always make it harder by changing it to an active hang and engaging your core and pulling your scapula down. And that makes a great segue into the next progression, which are scapula pull-ups, drawing your shoulders down and back, aiming for 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps. This is a great warm-up and great preparation for pull-ups. Moving on to the next progression will be assisted pull-ups. So you'll want to find a band that you can challenge yourself with, but that's not too difficult, that you can't do more than 5 reps of. Finding a band that will allow you to do 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps will be optimal. Of course, you can also do this process with chin-ups as well. Moving on will be negative pull-ups, so either grabbing a chair, a stool, or jumping to the top of the bar and lowering down as slow and controlled as you can. Aiming for 3 sets of 5 reps. You can do this again with chin-ups as well, or whatever grip you prefer. And obviously, of course, once you're comfortable with negatives, attempting the full pull-up, starting the movement by retracting your scapula and then pulling your chest towards the bar with your arms for the rest of the movement. Doing any grip you prefer here, and you can always make this harder by adding weight. Moving on to the lower body, here I'm just demonstrating a regular air squat. I don't think I need to elaborate too much, just keeping your feet about shoulder distance apart and making sure you're not rounding through the low back and opening up through the hip. One of my favorite ways just to make a regular bodyweight squat harder is changing it up for a Cossack squat, and you can do this with weight as well to make it a bit more challenging, but this in itself is definitely a bit more of a challenge than a regular air squat. So this is a great one to replace when that becomes too easy for you. It's also a great prerequisite for single-legged squats. I'm demonstrating right now. Here's just a assisted shrimp squat using a bench or something to stabilize yourself while you progress. And you can always do negatives of these as well. I didn't film that, but those are great when you're trying to build up the strength and you don't currently have the strength to lift back up. Here's a full shrimp squat. Once you gain the stability and balance after practicing the assisted ones, you'll eventually be able to do a full shrimp squat, which is a great body weight quad exercise. And of course, my favorite out of all the body weight leg exercises, the pistol squat. These you'll eventually be able to do with practice as well. I'm not going to elaborate too much into them because I also have already filmed a video on how to achieve your pistol squat. So if you want to see that, I'll leave the link of that in the description. You can always make these harder by adding weight. Last but not least will be hip hinge movements. These are just some glute bridges, which are great for beginners, and making them a bit harder by doing them single-legged. It will be hard once you get to this point to make any improvements without adding weight or changing up your goals, maybe to achieve a Nordic hamstring curl. Here I will just be demonstrating some single leg deadlifts. Again, these are great for starting out, but soon you'll realize that you need to progress, and basically the only way to do that will be to add weight. So I'm still at a point where I'm using weights for my lower body, and I think that's absolutely fine. If you're curious, there are a lot of great tutorials for Nordic hamstring curls online, but I cannot demonstrate. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something new. If you did, feel free to share this video with any of your friends who might be interested. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on that bell notification icon. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week. Bye.